I was born in Nyssa, Oregon. And the thing about it is that I was born in Nyssa, my mom was born in Nyssa, and her mom was born in Nyssa. Growing up in my family was different than most kids because at the early age of 6, my mom had my sister and my brother and I up in front of the church singing. Grew up singing in front of other people's churches. We traveled around singing. We went to Portland and made a record, and that's when I decided that's when I wanted to move to Portland. So we were a singing family. We had a lot of behind-the-scenes arguments and yelling matches and uncomfortable times that we had to turn off with a nozzle when we were in front of people. And that made it really, really hard to be real and be a testimony, because you knew you had to be something on stage that you weren't. You were definitely not that off stage. Favorite memories of my childhood are family times with my cousins and with my grandma and my great-grandma. The memories I have, especially with my grandma, when my mom and dad would go someplace, we would spend the night at my grandma's, and she would have us pulling taffy and playing Scrabble, and she would have us, blowing bubbles with little wooden spools and giving us little nighttime candy to go to sleep. I remember a lot about my grandma. She was really something special. In high school, I became depressed towards the end of my senior year, to the point that I contemplated taking my life. I know that my mom and dad knew something was wrong, but they didn't know what to do. We lived in a small town. There were no psychiatrists. There were no doctors. There were no, psychologists. So I think that their thing that they did, and that they did well, was to pray. And I believe because of that depression was shortened to only about 2 weeks. Life went on, and then when I was in college, my mom remembered that I had a couple different times called home and was very distraught, and she remembered that I was going through depression times again. Still didn't seek medical advice at the time. But after I had my kids, it was about 2 years after the last one was born, I had to be hospitalized because it was beyond just depression. I wasn't thinking clearly. My mind was not functioning correctly at all. Well, when they sent me home, I was not okay. But they didn't know I was not okay because I was putting on a facade. That childhood thing about putting on a facade was there because I believed that if I let them know that I was anything less than okay, that I was not being a Christian. If I'm a Christian, why do I need to take this medicine? Why can't I just believe and trust God and have this all go away? Why can't I be strong in the Lord, and not have to deal with this medicine thing? There was the struggle of wondering whether I was having faith enough by having to take medicine or not. But what the really awesome thing was that in the midst of that struggle, in probably the worst time of that struggle, he reached out to me so that I didn't have to reach out for him. He reached out to me, and even in the mental and physical struggle that I was in, spoke to me. I was like telling him, if I have to go on from here, you have to be with me. And he said, I will go with you wherever you go. And I just thought that was awesome because I thought it was at a time where I couldn't even fathom where he was. He was just like nowhere out there. But he reached down into my life and spoke to me. One of the things that I believe God pointed me to was the songs that I had written as a child and as a teenager. And I would read through those songs and realize I had him. I had to have had him. It's all right here. There's testimony that he was here in my life. But the feeling that I had was so deep that I was without. It was so dark and so alone that I just couldn't feel like he was there with me. I'm thankful that he has made himself real in my life. And I'm thankful that he is allowing me to be real. The new me is letting go of who I was and allowing Christ to bring out the real me.
I'm Barb Villalpando, and this is my story.